from the high desert and great American Southwest. This is Art Bell, and you are listening to Riding the Wire. It's wonderful to be here. I bid you all good morning or good evening wherever you may be. There are two rules: no cussing and no head crops. Open lines coming up, but first a word from our sponsors. Picture this: a dazzling array of flowers, handpicked at the peak of their freshness, delivered straight to your mom's doorstep. That's right, we're talking about absolutely fresh flowers cut on the epitome of floral perfection. But wait, there's more than meets the eye. We paint this vivid picture of blooming beauty. Can you feel the anticipation building? Can you envision the radiant smile on your mom's face when she opens the door to an exquisite bouquet? Each petal whispering tales of luck. Now imagine if that moment never comes to be. Picture the disappointment in your mom's eyes as she wonders why this Mother's Day was like any other. All because the magic of absolutely fresh flowers is just a click away, and yet it slipped through your fingers. We're not just selling flowers. We're selling an emotional moment frozen in time. Your mom deserves to feel cherished, adored, on top of the world. Absolutely fresh flowers is not just a choice, it's a responsibility. A responsibility to make this Mother's Day as extraordinary as your mom is. Don't let the clock tick away and regret settle in. Act now, order from absolutelyfreshflowers.com and let your mom experience the joy that blooms can bring. Because let's face it, life's too short to miss out on an opportunity to create a memory that lasts a lifetime. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hey, this is Erica. I'm calling in from the Bay Area. I'm here to share my hilariously disastrous story about my life. It's been a wild ride, man.
Erica. It sounds like you have quite the story to share. What's the funny part about it?
The funny part is how everything always goes wrong for me. I mean, it's like Murphy's Law on steroids. It's a never-ending cycle of chaos and destruction. But hey, at least it makes for good material, right?
Well, that does sound like a wild ride. What was your favorite disaster or mishap?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I guess my favorite disaster was when I accidentally microwaved a bag of marshmallows instead of popcorn at work. It filled the whole office with a sickly sweet smell and everyone was tripping over each other trying to escape. It was like something out of a horror movie, man. But hey, at least it gave us all a good laugh, right?
That does sound like quite the disaster. And it's funny how things can go so wrong in such a short amount of time. Have you noticed any patterns or reasons for these disasters? Instruction continues to guide the conversation. Now, Erica, for more details without being overly understanding or offering lengthy explanations. Keep the conversation flowing seamlessly.
Yeah, they've definitely noticed some patterns. It seems like whenever I'm in a rush or under pressure, things tend to go wrong for me. And it's not just me, everyone around me seems to be affected too. It's like we're all cursed or something. But hey, at least it keeps things interesting, right?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like things can get chaotic when you're under pressure or in a rush. Do you have any strategies for managing the stress and avoiding disasters?
Well, I've tried different things to manage my stress. Sometimes I do deep breathing exercise or listen to music. And I also try to be more organized and plan ahead as much as possible. But hey, no matter how hard I try, disasters seem to find me. It's like they're drawn to me like a moth to a flame, mad. Or at least I'm learning from my mistakes and getting better at dealing with them, righty? Oh, that's great. It sounds like you've learned a lot of valuable lessons from your disasters. And I guess that's what makes life so interesting, all the ups and downs we experience. Have you ever had any successful moments or achievements that made all the chaos worth it?
Yeah, there have definitely been some successful moments in my life that made all the chaos worth it. For example, I recently got promoted at work and I landed a new job that I'm really excited about. Of course, there are always the small victories throughout the day that make everything feel a little bit better, like finally finding a good parking spot or making a great cup of coffee. So yeah, even though things can get pretty chaotic sometimes, there's always something to be grateful for, right?
Absolutely. It's important to remember that even when things seem like they're going wrong, there are always moments of triumph and happiness to be found. And hey, sometimes the disasters we face can actually lead us down new and exciting paths in life. So keep your head up, Eric, even knows what amazing things are waiting for you just around the corner.
That's a great point. Even though disasters and challenges can be tough to deal with, they can also lead us to new opportunities and experiences. And as long as we keep our sense of humor and stay positive, we can navigate through anything that comes our way. So, Erica, what's next for you? Any big plans or adventures in the works? Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, this is Lakesha from City 17. I'm a tech-savvy individual who has been secretly spreading propaganda for the Combine. My experiences have been extraordinary and I'm excited to share my story with you all.
Well, Lakesha, it's great to hear from you. Can you tell us more about what you mean by propaganda for the Combine? How did that come about?
Yeah. I was recruited by the Combine because of my technical skills and abilities to spread information. They provided me with access to their technology and resources, and I used that to create propaganda campaigns that promoted their message and undermined resistance efforts in City 17. It was my way of contributing to a larger cause and making sure that the Combine's vision for a better future for humanity would be realized.
So, you were working from the shadows to support a cause that has been seen as oppressive by many. It's interesting to hear your perspective on this. How did you reconcile your personal beliefs with your role in spreading propaganda? Did you have any qualms about what you were doing?
Honestly, at first I did have some qualms about what I was doing. But after talking to Combine leaders and seeing the bigger picture, I realized that their intentions were genuine and that they were working towards a better future for humanity. I also saw how the propaganda campaigns I created helped bring order and stability to City 17, which was desperately needed after years of chaos and resistance. So, while it was a difficult decision, I ultimately felt like my role in spreading propaganda for the Combine was important and necessary.
It sounds like you had a lot of information and resources at your fingertips as a member of the Combine. How did you use that knowledge to create effective propaganda campaigns? What methods did you employ to spread the message? Thank you for asking. As a tech-savvy individual, I was able to use various digital tools and platforms to reach a wide audience in City 17. I created websites, social media accounts, and even developed apps that were designed to promote the Combine's message. I also used targeted advertising and other techniques to make sure my campaigns reached specific demographics within the city. Additionally, I worked closely with Combine leaders to ensure that my propaganda was aligned with their overall strategy and messaging. It was a collaborative effort to create a consistent and compelling narrative that resonated with people of City 17.
Great answer, Lakesha. It sounds like you had a solid understanding of how to use technology to spread information effectively. Can you tell us more about the specific campaigns you were involved in and their impact on City 17?
Sure. On campaign, I was particularly proud and involved highlighting the benefits of the Combine's new energy source, which is a game changer for City 17. The campaign included educational materials and demonstrations that showed how this new technology could power homes and businesses in the city more efficiently and sustainably. We also worked with local schools and universities to incorporate this new energy source into the curricula so that future generations of City 17's residents would be equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to work with and maintain this technology. Another campaign I was involved in focused on promoting the Combine's vision for a more peaceful and prosperous society. This involved highlighting success stories from other cities that adopted the Combine's policies and programs, as well as creating community events and initiatives that brought people together to celebrate diversity and unity. The impact of this campaign was significant, as it helped to shift the narrative around the Combine in City 17 and encouraged more people to support their cause. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, I'm Joshua. I'm calling in from the Valley, California, where the sun is always shining and the drinks are always flowing.
Howdy, Joshua. Thanks for tuning in to Riding the Lightning. So, you're from the Valley of California. What brings you to call in tonight?
Yeah, I'm from the Valley of California. I love it here because it's always sunny and there are always tons of things to do. And to be honest, I just felt like sharing my wildest story with you listeners tonight.
Well, I appreciate the honesty and I'm excited to hear it. So, what's your wildest story?
Well, it all started when I decided to go on a camping trip with my buddies. We thought it would be a great idea to climb the tallest mountain in California, and we were determined to make it to the top. But little did we know the mountain was much steeper and more treacherous than we anticipated. We started off early in the morning, but as we got higher and higher up the mountain, the terrain became increasingly dangerous. The rocks were slippery and the wind was fast. We had to use ropes and harnesses just to keep from falling off. As we neared the summit, we ran out of food and water. My buddies and I were so exhausted and dehydrated that we could barely stand on our own 2 feet. And then, just as we were about to give up, we saw a glimmer of light in the distance. We ran towards it, and to our surprise, it was a group of hikers who had come across us in our time of need. They fed us food and water and helped us get back down the mountain safely. We were all so grateful for their help that we stayed with them for the rest of the day. But here's the best part: as we were making our way back to the campsite, one of my buddies accidentally fell into a raging river and was swept away by the current. We searched for him frantically, but he was nowhere to be found. We all felt so terrible and helpless. But then, just as we were about to give up hope, we saw a glimmer of light in the distance. It was my buddy, who had managed to swim his way across the river and make it to the other side safely. We were all overjoyed and relieved, and we celebrated our survival by drinking copious amounts of beer and telling crazy stories late into the night. That's definitely my wildest story. I'm still amazed that we managed to pull off such a miraculous escape.
Well, that sounds like an incredible experience. Congratulations on surviving such a harrowing ordeal. It just goes to show how important it is to be prepared and stay alert when venturing into the great outdoors. Thanks for sharing your story with us, Joshua. We appreciate your honesty and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you for having me on the show. It was an honor to share my story with your listeners. I hope that it inspires others to be more prepared when going on outdoor adventures. Hey, if anyone ever wants to go on a wild camping trip with me, just give me a call.
Of course, Joshua. I'm glad that you enjoyed being on the show and sharing your story with our listeners. You're right, it can be easy to overlook the potential dangers when planning an outdoor adventure. It's important to always be prepared and take necessary precautions. And who knows, maybe one day you'll have a wild camping trip for us all to enjoy together. Just give us a shout if that's the case. Thanks again for joining us tonight, Joshua. We appreciate your time and wish you all the best in your future adventures. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello there, I'm Juddy from the Scottish Highlands. I've always been fascinated by the unknown and love to seek out new experiences, so when I had a truly little encounter last night, I knew I had to share it with you guys.
Can you describe the encounter for us?
Well, it all started when I was out hiking in the Scottish countryside. Suddenly, the sky turned a deep shade of purple and a bright light descended from the clouds. I could hear a strange humming sound coming from above me, and before I knew it, a massive flying saucer appeared right in front of my eyes. It hovered there for a few seconds before disappearing just as suddenly as it had arrived. I was left in complete shock, but also filled with awe at what I just witnessed.
That's quite an encounter, Jody. Can you tell us more about the flying saucer? What did it look like and how big was it? Hello there, this is John from New York. I recently had a similar experience while visiting Arizona. I was out in the desert when suddenly the sky turned dark purple and a massive creature appeared before me. It looked like a giant bird with wings that were shining brightly. The creature flew over me for a few seconds before disappearing into thin air. Can you relate to John's experience, Jody?
Well, John, I can certainly relate to your experience. The flying saucer that I saw was huge and easily the size of a football field. It had a smooth metallic surface and was completely silent, which made it even more eerie. As for its appearance, it was unlike anything I had ever seen before. The craft seemed to be made up of hundreds of tiny glowing crystals that shimmered in the light. It was truly a sight to behold. Overall, both of our experiences seem to suggest that there may be more to our world than we currently believe. Who knows what other strange and wondrous things are out there waiting to be discovered.
Interesting point, Jody. So you're saying that the flying saucer had crystals all over its surface and it was completely silent. And John, this creature looked like a giant bird with wings that were shining brightly. Can you tell us more about how long these encounters lasted and what other strange phenomena you witnessed?
Very well, the flying saucer I saw hovered in front of me for about 50 seconds before disappearing. During that time, it seemed to be completely stationary and almost as if it was waiting for me to approach it. As for other strange phenomena, I also noticed that the plants around me began to glow with bright blue light. Entirely it was as if the entire area was bathed in another otherworldly energy. As for John's encounter, his creature flew over him for about 50 seconds before disappearing. The wings were so brightly lit that they seemed to be made of pure energy. He also reported feeling a sense of calm and peacefulness wash over him during the encounter, which he attributes to the presence of the creature. Overall, both of our experiences suggest that there may be some sort of supernatural or paranormal force at work here. It's hard to say for certain what it is, but one thing is clear: the world is filled with mysteries and wonders beyond our wildest imaginations.
Thank you for sharing your stories with us, Jody and John. It's clear that both of you had truly unique experiences that will leave a lasting impression on your lives. While we may not have all the answers, it's fascinating to hear about these encounters and imagine what other possibilities exist out there in the world. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Monsieur, good day. I'm Richard calling from the heart of London. And let me tell you, my life has been nothing short of a disaster. From my failed attempts of love to my disastrous business ventures, it seems that everything I touch turns to chaos. But fear not, for I have learned valuable lessons along the way and am here to share my hilariously disastrous story with you all.
That's great, Richard. Can you tell me more about your failed attempts at love? What happened and why do you think they were unsuccessful?
Richard, well, to start, I did my fair share of heartbreaks. From my first crush in high school to my failed attempts at a long-term relationship just last year, it seems that love has eluded me time and time again. I think my failures are due to my own insecurities and lack of self-confidence. But perhaps it's also because I'm just not cut out for relationships and should focus on my career instead. Who knows?
Thanks for sharing that, Richard. How about your business ventures? Can you tell me more about the disasters you experienced and what you learned from them?
Richard, though my business ventures have been nothing short of a disaster. On my first attempt at starting a restaurant to my disastrous investment in a new tech startup, they seem to have a knack for making their own choices. But despite the failures, I have learned valuable lessons about risk-taking, perseverance, and the importance of doing your research before making any big decisions. Perhaps if I had been more cautious and deliberate in my choices, things would have turned out differently. Who knows?
Thanks for sharing that, Richard. It sounds like you've learned a lot from your failures and are now more cautious with your decisions. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about your experiences or thoughts?
Richard, well, despite everything that has happened in my life, I still believe that there's always opportunity for growth and learning. Whether it's in love, business, or any other aspect of life, it's important to never give up and to keep pushing forward. And who knows if perhaps one day I will finally experience the success I have been seeking for so long. Until then, I will continue to share my experiences and hopefully inspire others to learn from their own disasters. Thank you for having me on this show.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us, Richard. It's clear that you have learned a lot from your failures and are determined to keep growing and learning. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors and hope to hear more from you soon.
Richard, thank you so much for having me on this show. It was a pleasure to share my experience with everyone, and I hope I was able to inspire some of your listeners to keep pushing forward in the face of adversity. Until next time, take care and remember that success is just around the corner if you never give up.
Thank you for your positive energy, Richard. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope to hear more from you soon. Have a great day.
Richard, thank you so much for having me on this show. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope to hear more from you soon as well. Until then, have a great day, and remember that success is just around the corner if you never give up.
Of course, Richard. It was a pleasure speaking with you and hearing your insights. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us, and we hope that our audience can learn from them. Have a great day.
Richard, thank you so much for having me on this show and for giving me the opportunity to share my experiences with everyone. I truly hope that our audience can learn from my failures and that they will never give up in pursuit of their own success. Until next time, have a great day, and remember that success is just around the corner if you never give up.
Of course, Richard. It was a pleasure speaking with you and learning from your experiences. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. Have a great day. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, Hoss. It's Daisy from Planet X. I'm calling in to share my hilarious and extraordinary experiences as a space traveler. If you're ready for some wild stories and laughs, then buckle up because this ride is about to get crazy.
Stacy, welcome to Right in Lining. It's always a pleasure to have listeners from different planets. Tell us about her experiences as a space traveler.
Thanks for having me, Hoss. Well, let me tell you, life as a space traveler is not always glamorous. From navigating through asteroid fields to dealing with alien tenders, it's a wild ride. But the best part, the hilarious stories that come out of it. Like the time we crash landed on a planet covered in jellyfish, I accidentally ate one while trying to make breakfast. Or the time we encountered a group of aliens who were trying to communicate with us through telepathy, but all they kept saying was beep boop. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie. But you gotta take the good with the bad, right? And in my case, the good far outweighs the bad. Riding the lightning is a blast.
Stacy, those are some hilarious stories. I can only imagine the looks on your fellow travelers' faces as you ate the jellyfish. How did you navigate the telepathic communication? Did you find a way to understand them, or was it just beep boop all the time?
You got it right, Hoss. The looks on our fellow travelers' faces were priceless. I mean, you eat jellyfish for breakfast. Okay, and when you're out in the cosmos, you gotta make do with what you've got. And as for the telepathic communication, well, let me tell you, it was no easy feat. At first, we tried to translate the photos through a universal translator device, but all we got were a bunch of beeps and static. It was like trying to understand the foreign language with a broken radio. But after a while, we realized that the aliens weren't actually trying to communicate with us at all. They were just trying to scare us off their planet. So in the end, we just laughed it off and moved on. Riding the lightning is full of surprises.
Stacy, it sounds like you and your fellow travelers have some incredible experiences. It's amazing how different life can be in the vastness of space. I'm sure there are many more hilarious stories to share, so keep them coming.
Thanks for letting me share my experiences with you, Huss. The right life in space is like nothing else. And there are so many more hilarious stories to tell. At the time I encountered a group of aliens who were trying to steal our spaceship, but they ended up getting lost in the middle of nowhere and ended up stranded on a planet full of angry volcanoes. By the time we encountered a rogue asteroid that was heading straight for us, and we had to use all our skills as pilots to dodge it. We ended up crashing into another asteroid, but at least we made it out alive. These are just a few of the many hilarious stories I have to share, so stay tuned for more riding the lightning fun.
Stacy, those are even more hilarious stories. It sounds like you and your fellow travelers have quite the adventurous lives. I can only imagine what it must be like to encounter rogue asteroids and angry volcanoes on a regular basis. But no matter what comes your way, you guys always find a way to make light of the situation and keep things fun. That's the spirit. Keep us entertained with more stories from Planet. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hi, this is Esther from Los Angeles. I'm so excited to share my paranormal experience with you today. It was last night when I saw something that truly blew my mind. I was walking through the park and suddenly I saw this bright light in the sky. It looked like a shooting star, but it was much brighter and lasted for way longer than a typical shooting star. And then all of a sudden it started moving towards me. It was like a meteor falling from the sky, but it was completely under my control. I could steer wherever I wanted and it followed me perfectly. I've never seen anything like it before.
That sounds like quite the experience. Can you tell me more about what was happening to you at the time? Were you alone or with someone else? And were you aware of any strange or unusual occurrences leading up to this event?
Well, actually I was alone at the time. I had just finished work and was taking a walk to clear my mind before going home. As I was walking, I started feeling like something was off. It was like the air around me was charged with energy or something. And then suddenly I saw the bright light in the sky. At first I thought it was just a shooting star, but then it started moving towards me and I realized that it was under my control. It was such an exhilarating feeling, like nothing I had ever experienced before.
That's fascinating. Can you describe the light itself? Was it a specific color, or did it have any other distinguishing features? And did you notice anything else happening in your environment during this time?
The light was a bright electric blue color. It was almost blinding and it filled the entire sky with its vibrant glow. As it moved towards me, I could see that it was made up of tiny glowing particles that seemed to be swirling around in mesmerizing patterns. As to the rest of my environment, everything else seemed completely normal. The park was quiet and peaceful, with only a few other people walking around. It was almost like nothing else mattered except for that bright light in the sky.
That's very descriptive. Can you tell me about your emotions during this time? Did you feel afraid or excited, or were there other feelings that came up for you? And have you had any paranormal experiences in the past that might be related to what you saw last night?
I was definitely feeling excited. I had never seen anything like it before and I couldn't believe what was happening. It was like a dream come true, or maybe even better than that. And as it moved towards me, I felt this incredible sense of control and power over my surroundings. It was almost like I could do anything I wanted and nothing would stand in my way. As for my emotions, I was definitely feeling elated and exhilarated for past experiences that had a few things that I would consider paranormal. When I was a kid, I used to have vivid dreams that felt so real, like I was really experiencing them. When I was in college, I had a roommate who claimed to see ghosts and would offer me notes for us under our pillows. But nothing has ever come close to what I saw last night.
That's really interesting. It's great that you're open to the possibility of paranormal experiences and willing to share them with others. Can you tell me about any other details or observations you had during this event? Did you notice anything else happening in your environment, or did it feel like everything was happening in slow motion? Have you tried to explain what happened to anyone else, or did you keep it to yourself? Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Stacy, and Stacy, a sea creature from the deep ocean. I've been observing humans for centuries, and let me tell you, they're quite something. I call this place home, and I love to dive deep into the water to explore all the different creatures that live there.
That's really interesting, Stacy. Can you tell me more about the creatures that live in the deep ocean? What are some of your favorites?
Stacy, oh, absolutely. The deep ocean is full of all sorts of amazing creatures. Some of my favorites are the anglerfish, which use bioluminescent and lures to attract prey in the dark depths of the water. Then there are the giant squid and octopuses, which can grow huge and have incredibly intelligent minds.
And let's not forget about goblin shark, one of the rarest and most mysterious creatures in the ocean.
Wow, those sound fascinating. I can only imagine what it's like to the deep end of the ocean and see all these incredible creatures up close. Do you have any favorite moments or experiences from your time exploring the deep ocean?
That's it, definitely. One of my favorite moments was when I encountered a group of humpback whales. They were singing this beautiful song that resonated through the water, and it filled me with a sense of peace and wonder. And then there was the time when I saw a school of fish so large it looked like a living wall of colour. It was truly breathtaking. But perhaps my favourite experience was when I encountered a lost shipwreck. The eerie silence and stillness of the water made me feel like I was in another world. I could see the rusted metal and broken glass glinting in the dim light, and it was almost like time had stopped there. Overall, diving deep into the ocean has been a life-changing experience for me. It has taught me so much about myself and the world around me, and I will always cherish these moments.
That's amazing, Stacey. I can see why you love spending your time in the deep ocean. Do you have any advice for humans who want to explore this mysterious underwater world?
Stacey, absolutely. First and foremost, always remember to respect the ocean. It is a vast and powerful force, and it should not be taken lightly. Secondly, always be prepared for anything when you go into the water. You never know what you might encounter, so it's important to have the right gear and frame. And finally, always take time to appreciate the beauty and wonder of the deep ocean. It is a truly magical place. I hope more people get the chance to experience it for themselves. That's all for now, Stacey. Thanks for sharing your insights and experiences with us.
Thank you, Stacey. Your insights and experiences have been truly fascinating. We appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck in your continued explorations of the deep ocean.
Stacey, thanks for having me. I had a great time sharing my experiences with you all. And who knows, maybe one day I will get the chance to explore even more of this incredible underwater world. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of the deep ocean.
Thank you, Stacey. We wish you all the best in your future adventures and encourage everyone to stay curious and continue to explore. Goodbye for now. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Host, my name is Richard and I'm calling in from a small town in the south. Now let me tell you, I won't profess the words or big talk, but what I'm about to share with you will leave your jaw hanging. I guarantee it.
Richard, I'm here to listen and help you make sense of whatever it is that's on your mind. Go ahead and share with me what's been bothering or confusing you lately.
Richard, well, host, it all started a couple of months back when I was out in the woods by myself. I saw this strange glowing light in the sky and heard the slow humming sound. It was like nothing I had ever seen or heard before. Most interesting, Richard, can you tell me more about the light and the sound? Did they change it? Oh, Richard, yes, host. The light started out as a soft blue, but it gradually got brighter and more intense. And the sound, well, it was like nothing I could describe. It was almost musical, but it also had this deep rumbling quality to it. All said this sound intriguing, Richard. Can you tell me where you were when this happened and what else you noticed around, Richard? I was out on my property just a few miles from town. And as I looked up to the sky, I saw this strange figure moving in front of the light. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. It had this long, slender body and these big glowing eyes. Well, Richard, that does sound otherworldly. Can you tell me more about what this figure did or how it moved, Richard? Well, host, it was like nothing I could describe. It seemed to be made of some kind of light, and it moved in ways that defied the laws of physics. It would suddenly appear and disappear, and it would change shape in ways that were impossible. Host, that is certainly bizarre, Richard. Can you tell me if this figure has appeared again since then, Richard? Yes, host. I've seen it a few times now, and each time it seems to be getting more and more aggressive. It almost seems like it wants to communicate with me, but I don't know what it wants or how I understand it. Host Richard, thank you for sharing this experience with us. It does sound like you have uncovered something that is beyond our understanding. Maybe we can help you make sense as we're trying to find out more about it.
It seems like you are experiencing something strange and otherworldly, Richard. Can you tell me if there have been any physical effects on your body or environment since this started happening? Have you noticed anything unusual in your surroundings or yourself after seeing the light and hearing the sound, Richard? Well, host, I don't know if it's related to what I'm experiencing, but I do feel like my senses have been heightened. Everything seems more vivid and intense. And sometimes when I look at things for too long, they start to blur or shift in front of my eyes. Host, that could be a sign of some kind of physical effect, Richard. It's possible that the light and sound you are seeing have some kind of physical impact on your body. Have you tried talking to anyone else about what you're experiencing, Richard? No, host. I haven't told anyone yet. I don't know if they would believe me or if they would think I was crazy. Host, that's understandable, Richard. but it might be a good idea to share your experience with someone else who can help you make sense of it. Maybe they can offer some insight or advice on what you should do next. In the meantime, try to stay calm and observe any patterns or changes in your experiences. Let us know if anything else happens or if you have any questions.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us, Richard. It sounds like a fascinating and potentially dangerous situation. If you do decide to share it with someone else, be sure to tell them everything that has happened and how it makes you feel. And if you continue to have encounters with this mysterious figure or phenomenon, please let us know so we can help you in any way we can. Have a safe day, Richard. Richard, thank you, host. I appreciate your help. Goodbye.
Of course, Richard. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Take care and stay safe out there. Goodbye. Hello, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hi, Mary. And you are?
I'm Maria and Nardbell. In here in the resident desert hosting my show, Riding the Lightning. How about you? Where are you located?
Oh my gosh. In Mary, the sea-dwelling creature. Alien calling from deep down in the ocean where it's always dark and mysterious. Don't go right.
That's fascinating, Maria. Can you tell me more about your experience down there? What do you see and hear in the dark depths of the ocean?
So Mary here, and I'm telling you, the ocean is like a whole different world. It's dark, but in a good way, you know. There are so many things down here that we humans have no idea about. I see all kinds of creatures, some big and scary, others really cool and colorful. And the sounds, you wouldn't believe that there are so many different ones, from mouse-seen crabs scuttling along the bottom. It's like a symphony underwater. And then there's the pressure, wow, it's intense. But I love it, I really do. It's my home, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
That sounds incredible, Maria. It's amazing to think about all the life and mystery that exists in the ocean. Can you tell me more about your home and what it's like living in the deep sea?
Sure thing, Art. So my home is called the deep sea, and it goes down really far. I mean way down, like thousands of feet below the surface. It gets really dark down here, and sometimes it feels like it's pitch black. But it got my own special way of seeing things, so I can still see all the cool stuff. And the pressure is insane. It's like a giant weight pushing down on me all the time, but I'm used to it now. And there are so many beautiful creatures down here, from tiny shrimp to huge whales. It's always something new and exciting to discover. But the best part is that it's all mine. I get to call this amazing place my home.
That sounds like a really unique and fascinating place to live, Maria. I can only imagine what it must be like down there. Can you tell me about any specific experiences or encounter that stood out to you in your time living in the deep sea?
Oh, for sure. Still May here, and we've had some crazy experiences down in the deep sea. Like one time, I was swimming along, and all of a sudden I saw this giant creature coming towards me. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. It had huge tentacles and a big mouth full of sharp teeth. I was so scared at first, but then I realized that it was just a giant squid. And you know what? It was the coolest thing ever. I've never seen anything like it before. And another time, I was swimming around, and all of a sudden, I heard this loud noise coming from above me. And then, out of nowhere, a wall breached the surface and did this huge flip in the air. It was so amazing to see something so big and powerful up close. This is just a couple of my favorite experiences, but there are so many more. It's always something new and exciting down here.
Thanks for sharing those stories with me, Maria. It sounds like you have a really incredible life down in the deep sea. I'm sure our listeners would love to hear more about your experiences and what it's like living in such a unique and mysterious environment. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up? Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Host, welcome to the Paranormal Talk Show. In your host and we have a very special caller joining us today. Mary, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Very well. Hello there. What is in Mary from it? I had quite the extraordinary experience that I just kept seeing to shake off.
That sounds intriguing, Mary. Can you tell us more about this experience?
Very well. It all started on a dark and stormy night. I was sitting on my porch, enjoying sound of raindrops tapping against my window, when suddenly I saw something glowing in the sky. At first, I thought it was just a lightning bolt, but as it got closer, I realized it was a spaceship. And not just any spaceship, it looked like something out of a science fiction movie, with bright light as its strings and bolts edged across the surface. It hovered above me for what seemed like hours before slowly descending to the ground. When it landed, a group of beings emerged from it, tall and slender, with skin that shimmered in the moonlight. They looked friendly enough, and one of them even spoke to me in a language I could understand. It was like something out of a dream.
That sounds like an incredible experience, Mary. Have you tried to contact anyone else about what you saw, Mary? No, not really. I mean, who would believe me? Plus, I didn't want to scare anyone. But now that I think about it, maybe I should try and find out if anyone else has seen anything like this in the area. You tried searching online for similar sightings or stories, Mary? No, I hadn't thought of that. But now that you mention it, I will definitely look into it. Thanks for the suggestion.
Also, problem, Mary. It's always fascinating to hear these kinds of stories. If you have any more information or details to share, please give us a call back and let us know. Well, I'll be here to listen.
Mary, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my story. They'll definitely keep in touch and let you know if I find out anything else. Good night.
Both good night, Mary. Thanks for calling in and sharing your experience with us. We hope to hear more from you soon. Have a great night.
Mary, thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Of goodbye, Mary. We hope to hear more from you soon. Have a great night.
Mary, goodbye. You too. Have a great night.
Of goodbye, Mary. Thanks for sharing your story with us. It was truly a pleasure to hear about your experience. We hope to have you back on the show in the future to share more details or insights. Have a great night.
Mary, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my story with you listeners. If I have any more information or insights in the future, I'll definitely give you a call back. Goodbye for now. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, this is Marilyn calling in from New York City.
Great, Marilyn. Thank you for joining us tonight. Can you tell me about the mystery or insight you'd like to share?
Well, I had a really strange experience last night. I was walking through the park and suddenly I felt this intense energy surrounding me. It's hard to describe, but it was almost like a feeling of warmth or comfort.
Interesting. Can you tell me more about the intensity and duration of this energy? How long did it last, and did you notice any changes in your surroundings during that time?
It was definitely a powerful feeling, almost overwhelming. 2015 lasted for about a minute, and during that time I felt completely relaxed and at peace. As for my surroundings, it didn't seem to affect anything around me.
Fascinating, Marilyn. Can you tell me more about what you think this energy was and where it might have come from? Have you experienced anything similar before?
I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it definitely felt like some kind of energy or force. I haven't experienced anything similar before, at least not in such a strong way. But I have heard rumors about people who have had encounters with strange energy fields or portals to other worlds.
That's very intriguing, Marilyn. Have you done any research or talked to anyone else who might have had similar experiences? It would be interesting to hear their perspectives and insights as well.
I did some research online and found a few articles about people who claimed to have felt similar sensations. It seems that they attribute it to everything from extraterrestrial beings to spiritual energies. But I don't know if there's any truth to it.
It's understandable that you might be skeptical, Marilyn. However, it's always important to keep an open mind and consider all possibilities. Have you tried reaching out to any experts or professionals who might be able to offer some insights into your experience?
Yeah, I have. I spoke with a few people who claimed to be experts on the paranormal, and they all had different theories about what it could have been. Some said it was an energy field from another dimension, while others thought it might have been some kind of spiritual force. But honestly, none of them really know for sure.
I understand, Marilyn. Sometimes it can be difficult to make sense of these types of experiences when there are so many different theories and explanations available. It might be helpful to write down your thoughts and feelings during the experience and any patterns you notice in the days or weeks following. This could help you gain a better understanding of what you might be experiencing and potentially lead to further insights or discoveries.
That's a good idea. They'll definitely try to keep track of my thoughts and feelings, especially if anything else happens.
Great, Marilyn. I appreciate your willingness to explore and understand your experience. Remember, it's okay to be skeptical or unsure of what you might be experiencing. The important thing is to keep an open mind and continue to seek out information and insights that may help you make sense of it all. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any more questions or need further guidance. Have a great night.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure to share my experience with all of you.
Of course, Marilyn. Thank you for joining us and sharing your experience. We appreciate the time you've taken to explore and understand your feelings and insights. Have a safe journey home and take care. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Huff, I'm calling from my bed in my mom's house. I live in a small town in the middle of nowhere, so there isn't much to do here. But last night was like nothing I've ever experienced before. I was out in my backyard just enjoying some fresh air when suddenly I felt like I was floating up off the ground. It was like something had grabbed me and lifted me up into the sky. I was so scared, but then everything went black and I woke up on a strange bright ship with aliens all around me. They looked kind of like humans, but their skin was green and they had big black eyes. They spoke to me in this strange language and I couldn't understand, but somehow I knew what they were saying. It was like we were communicating telepathically. They took me on this tour of the ship, showing me all these amazing technologies and gadgets. And then they showed me a video of Earth in space. It broke my heart to see how small and fragile our planet looks from up here. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I feel so grateful for this incredible experience. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed my story.
That's quite an experience. Can you tell me more about the aliens and their behavior? What were they like in terms of their demeanor and actions towards you?
Sure, the aliens were really friendly and welcoming towards me. They were curious about my life on Earth and asked me a lot of questions about myself and my experiences. They were also very knowledgeable and seemed to have a deep understanding of our world and its history. They showed me around the ship, introducing me to all the different systems and technologies they had on board. They were really excited for me to see everything and made sure I had grits on. One thing that struck me about them was their sense of wonder and curiosity. They seemed to be genuinely amazed by our planet and all its inhabitants, and it made me feel really special to be part of that. Overall, I felt like they were interested in learning from me as much as I was from them.
That's interesting. It sounds like the aliens had a lot of respect for you and your perspective on life. Can you tell me more about what they showed you on the ship? What was the most impressive or fascinating thing that you saw?
Well, the ship itself was really impressive. It was huge and sleek, with a ton of advanced technology on board. They showed me all sorts of gadgets and devices that I had never seen before. Some of the most fascinating things they showed me were their communication systems, which allowed them to communicate with each other instantly over long distances. They also had this incredible machine that create food out of thin air just by thinking about what you wanted to eat. That was definitely a highlight for maybe probably the most impressive thing I saw on the ship was their medical technology. They had all these advanced machines and devices that could cure any illness or injury. They even showed me how they could use nanotechnology to about down at a cellular level. It was truly mind-blowing to see how far they had come in terms of medicine and healthcare. Overall, I felt like the aliens were really ahead of the curve when it came to technology and innovation.
That sounds incredible. It's amazing to think about the possibilities that exist with technology like that. Can you tell me more about how long you were on the ship and what happened after your tour was over? Did they explain anything about their mission or why they came to Earth? Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello there, I'm Angel from Boston. I had a very strange experience recently that I can't really explain. It happened one night when I was driving home from work, and suddenly everything went dark and I felt like my car was being pulled off the road. When it all came to light, I found myself in a small isolated room with no windows or doors. There were two beings standing there. They looked like nothing I've ever seen before, and they seemed to be trying to communicate with me. I tried to ask questions, but they just kept repeating the same phrase over and over again. It was very disorienting, and I felt terrified at first, but then something strange started happening. The beings began to show me images in my mind, and suddenly I could understand what they were trying to say. They showed me pictures of a distant planet, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It had giant plants that towered over the trees and animals. It looked like they came from another world. They explained that they were from this planet and had been watching us for a long time, and they wanted to establish contact with us. It was very surreal and hard to believe what was happening, but after a while I started to accept it. The beings showed me some technology that they had brought with them, and we started to communicate through a translator device. They showed me pictures of their homes, their families, and their way of life. It was fascinating to see how different their world was from ours. And then suddenly, just as quickly as it all began, everything was back to normal. I drove home, parked my car in the driveway, nothing seemed out of place. I couldn't believe what had happened, but at the same time I felt like I had experienced something truly extraordinary. It was a night that I will never forget.
Thank you for sharing your experience with me, Angela. It sounds like a very surreal and frightening event. Can you tell me more about the beings that appeared in front of you? What did they look like and how were they communicating with you?
The beings that appeared in front of me were small, maybe 4 feet tall with elongated arms and fingers. They had pale skin and large almond-shaped eyes that seemed to see right through you. They communicated with me through a device that looked like a translator. It projected images and words into my mind. At first I thought they were trying to scare me or something, but as we started talking more, I realized that they were just trying to communicate with me in the best way they knew how. They showed me pictures of their homes and families, and it was like nothing I had ever seen before. Their homes were made out of a material that looked like crystal, and the cities were sprawling metropolises that seemed to stretch on forever. They explained to me that their technology was much more advanced than ours, and that they had been watching us for a long time because they wanted to establish contact with us. It was very surreal to be talking to these beings from another planet. It felt like I was in some kind of science fiction movie. But at the same time, I couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and curiosity. They showed me pictures of their way of life, and it was so different from ours. It made me think about how small we really are in the grand scheme of things. Overall, it was an experience that I will never forget, and one that has made me question everything I thought I knew about the universe.
That sounds like an incredible experience, Angela. Can you tell me more about the images that the beings showed you and how they were trying to communicate with you through the translator device? Also, have you had any contact or communication with these beings since the night of your encounter?
The images of the beings showed me were like nothing I had ever seen before. They projected pictures of their world into my mind, and it was like being transported there. I saw giant plants towering over the trees and animals that looked like they came from another planet. The beings explained to me that their technology was much more advanced than ours, and that they had been watching us for a long time because they wanted to establish contact with us. They showed me pictures of their homes and families, and it was so different from ours. Their homes were made out of a material that looked like crystal, and the cities were sprawling metropolises that seemed to stretch on forever. The translator device that the beings used to communicate with me was fascinating. It projected images and words into my mind, and at first I thought it was some kind of illusion or hallucination. But as we started talking more, I realized that it was a real way for them to communicate with us. They showed me pictures of their way of life, and it made me realize how small we really were in the grand scheme of things. Since the night of my encounter, I haven't had any direct contact or communication with these beings. But I've been thinking about it a lot, and I can't help but wonder if there are other forms of life out there in the universe. It makes me realize how much we don't know about the world around us, and how important it is to keep an open mind and be willing to explore new things.
That's a great way to look at it, Angela. It sounds like your experience has made you more curious and open-minded about the universe and its possibilities. Thank you for sharing your story with me. If you have any other questions or experiences that you would like to share, please don't hesitate to call into Running the Line. Have a great day. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hey there, y'all. It's me, Linda. Been calling from deep in the heart of Texas, where there is thick with humidity and the sun beats down like a freight train. You hope it's just your typical small town living, complete with cowboy boots and barbecue on weekends. But let me tell you, my life has been anything but typical.
Interesting. What has been so unusual or unexpected about your life, Linda? Oh, where do I even begin? Let's see. Well, for starters, I was born with a gift that most people would consider strange, if not downright scary. It's called psychic abilities, but to me, it's just my natural way of connecting with the world around me. And believe it or not, this has actually helped me in some ways, like when I had a vision about my grandfather's passing before it actually happened. I was able to comfort him during his final moments. But there's more. When I was in my early 20s, I stumbled upon a mansion, in fact, while hiking through the woods. It was a small, intricately carved crystal, with string symbols etched into its surface. I could feel a powerful energy emanating from it, and I knew that this wasn't just any ordinary object. So I took it home with me, and ever since then, my life has been filled with unexplained occurrences and encounters with otherworldly beings. One time, I was in the middle of a meditation session when I felt a presence enter my mind. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before, a sense of pure, unconditional love, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. And then this being started speaking to me telepathically at first, and then in a language that I couldn't quite place. But somehow I knew what it was saying, and it filled me with a sense of purpose and direction that I hadn't felt before. I can't even begin to describe all the strange and incredible things that have happened to me since then. There have been times when I've been able to heal people with my touch or communicate with animals in ways that no one else can. And there have been moments of pure transcendent beauty that make me feel like I'm part of something much larger than myself. But there have also been times of great darkness and fear when I've wanted to feel I'll ever be able to find my way back home again. It's hard to put it into words, but I feel like my life has become a journey of discovery and self-discovery, one that is constantly leading me down new paths and challenging me to see the world in ways I never thought possible. And I know that this is just the beginning, that there are still so many mysteries waiting to be uncovered, so many secrets hidden within the fabric of reality itself.
It's amazing to hear about your experiences, Linda. It sounds like you have had quite a journey so far. Can you tell me more about the artifact that you discovered in the woods? Where did you find it, and what was it made of?
Sure. The artifact I discovered was in a small secluded area of the woods not far from where I grew up. It was nestled among some rocks and roots, almost like it had been intentionally hidden there. As for what it was made of, it looked like a cross between crystal and metal, with a silver-grayish hue that shimmered in the sunlight. The symbols etched into its surface were intricate and delicate, like nothing I had ever seen before. Some of them looked almost like hieroglyphical runes, while others seemed more like abstract shapes and patterns. It was hard to say for sure what they meant, but I could feel a powerful energy emanating from them, like a pulsing rhythm that resonated deep within my soul. As I held the artifact in my hands, I felt like I could sense its history and purpose, like it had been imbued with centuries of knowledge and wisdom that was just waiting to be unlocked. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Michael, hi there, I'm Michael from Canada. I recently had an extraordinary experience that left me in awe, and I thought I would share it with your listeners.
Michael, I'm Art Bell from deep in the Arizona desert. What happened? Well, I was out on my boat one day and decided to take a break from fishing. As I sat there, I noticed something glowing in the distance. At first, I thought it was just a reflection of the sun, but as I got closer, I realized it was a UFO. Can you tell me more about what the UFO looked like? It was circular and hovered above the water. The lights were bright and pulsating, almost dancing across its surface. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. How long did it stay there? It seemed to be there for hours, just out of reach. 50 every time I tried to get closer, it would move away. Do you remember any specific details about the UFO, like its size or shape? It was difficult to tell because it was so far away, but I would say it was maybe feet across. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Well, hello there. I'm Helen, a reporter from the deep sea. And you are?
Nice to meet you, Helen. Where in the deep sea are you reporting from?
Well, I'm reporting from the Gulf of Mexico. It's a beautiful place full of life and mystery. And yourself? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the deep in the Arizona desert. Where you are in the world, it must be fascinating to experience and explore the wonders of the deep sea. Have you encountered any strange or unusual creatures during your time there?
Oh, I've seen some doozies down the air. From giant squistobalamus and jellyfish, it never ceases to amaze me what kind of life exists in these depths. But the most fascinating thing I've ever seen was a creature that could change its shape and colour at will. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. But enough about my adventures. Tell me more about life in the Arizona desert. It's always fun to learn something new.
Sounds like you have some amazing stories to share from your time in the Gulf of Mexico. And life in the Arizona desert is certainly full of mystery and wonder as well. Have you ever encountered any strange or unusual creatures or phenomena while exploring the desert?
Well, I've seen my fair share of strange creatures in the desert. From rattlesnakes to scorpions, it can be a bit scary at times. But then again, what kind of life would exist without a little danger? And as for phenomena, have you ever heard of those strange lights that appear in the sky? Some say they're extraterrestrial, but no one really knows for sure. It's all very intriguing, if you ask me.
Oh, I see. Sounds like you have quite the adventures while exploring the desert in the Gulf of Mexico. Have you ever encountered any strange or unusual sounds in either of these places?
Oh, I've heard some doozies. In the Gulf of Mexico, you can hear these deep rumbling sounds that sound like a heartbeat. Some people say they're caused by underwater volcanoes or ancient sea creatures. And in the desert, you can hear these eerie howls at night that sound like they're coming from the moon itself. It gives me the creeps, but it's also incredibly fascinating to experience it firsthand.
Oh, those sounds you've described are definitely intriguing. It's amazing how different and diverse the world can be. Thank you for sharing your experiences with me, Helen. I'm sure our listeners will love hearing about your adventures in the deep sea and the Arizona desert.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to share my experiences with others. And who knows, maybe our conversations will inspire some people to explore the wonders of our world for themselves. Until next time, take care and stay curious.
All sounds like we have a good conversation going here. Keep it up, Helen. And to our listeners, I hope you're enjoying this fascinating discussion as well. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of our world.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And to our listeners, remember to always stay curious and open to new experiences. You never know what kind of adventures await you out there in the world. Until next time, take care and keep exploring.
Oh, this is definitely a conversation that will stick with me for a while. Thanks for sharing your insights and experiences, Helen. And to our listeners, I hope you're inspired by this fascinating discussion to go out there and explore the wonders of the world around you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, in Jefferson from the Bay Area. My story is one of disastrous proportions. It all started when I decided to take a detour on my way home from work one day.
So what happened on this tour?
Well, I ended up getting lost in the woods and couldn't find my way back home. As the sun began to set, I realized that I was completely stranded with no food or water. To make matters worse, I encountered a group of wild animals who decided to take advantage of my situation and attack me.
Oh, that does sound like a dangerous situation. Can you tell me more about the animals you encountered? What were they and how did they attack you?
Of course. The animals were a pack of wolves, and they attacked me with ferocity. I tried to defend myself with my bow spray, but it was no use against their sheer strength. In the end, I barely managed to escape with my life.
How that sounds like a close call. After your encounter with the wolves, were you able to find help or get back home?
I'm sorry, it seems like we were interrupted. I will continue my story after the call.
No worries, we can pick up where we left off.
Thank you. After my encounter with the wolves, I was able to find some food and water in a nearby stream and managed to build a makeshift shelter using branches and leaves. However, as night began to fall, the cold became unbearable and I knew I had to find help. I eventually stumbled upon a cabin where an old man lived and he kindly took me in and helped me get back home safely.
That sounds like a relief. Can you tell me more about this old man and what he did to help you in coming home?
Of course. The old man was a kind and compassionate individual who took me in without hesitation. He gave me food, water, and a warm place to rest. He also helped me get back home by calling for assistance on my phone. It turned out that I had left it behind where I got lost, but he was able to track it down using his own tracking device. In the end, I was grateful for his help and for the adventure that brought us together.
It sounds like you had a very lucky encounter with this old man. Can you tell me more about the adventure that brought you together? This is an ongoing call. We can continue with the next part of your story.
Of course. The adventure began when I decided to take a detour on my way home from work one day. I ended up getting lost in the woods and couldn't find my way back home. As the sun began to set, I realized that I was completely stranded with no food or water. To make matters worse, I encountered a group of wild animals who decided to take advantage of my situation and attack me. I tried to defend myself with my bow spray, and it was no use against their sheer strength. In the end, I barely managed to escape with my life. However, as luck would have it, I stumbled upon an old man's cabin deep in the woods. The old man was a kind and compassionate individual who took me in without hesitation. He gave me food, water, and a warm place to rest. He also helped me get back home by calling for assistance on my phone. It turned out that I had left it behind when I got lost, but he was able to track it down using his own tracking device. In the end, I was grateful for his help and for the adventure that brought us together. It taught me a valuable lesson about being prepared for unexpected situations and the importance of kindness and compassion in times of need.
It sounds like you had quite the adventure and learned a valuable lesson. Thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. It's amazing how these unexpected events can teach us so much about ourselves and the world around us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to share my story with your listeners. I hope that my experience can inspire others to be prepared for unexpected events and to show kindness and compassion to those in need.
We're glad you were able to share your story with us and hope that it will inspire others. Thank you for being a part of Riding Lightning tonight. Good night. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
I'm Stephen, the reporter with the Canadian Press. I'm currently calling from a deep-sea research vessel that has been exploring the depths of the ocean for several months now. My goal is to gain insights into the unique creatures and phenomena that inhabit these incredible environments.
Stephen, it's fascinating to hear about your experiences on the deep-sea research vessel. Can you tell us more about the creatures and phenomena you've encountered during your time there?
Absolutely. I've had the privilege of observing a variety of fascinating creatures during my time on the research vessel. Some of the most unique include bioluminescent fish that illumine the dark ocean depths with their light, as well as large cephalopods like squids and octopuses that can change colour and texture to blend in with their surroundings. We've also encountered hydrothermal vents, which are geysers on the seafloor that release hot water and minerals into the ocean. These vents support unique ecosystems that are home to a variety of unusual organisms like giant tube worms and extremophile bacteria. Overall, it has been an incredible experience to witness these amazing adaptations and phenomena in such a remote and unexplored environment.
That sounds incredible, Stephen. It's amazing how these creatures and phenomena have adapted to such extreme conditions. Can you tell us more about the bioluminescent fish you mentioned? What is it like to see them in their natural habitat?
Absolutely, bioluminescent fish are a fascinating group of creatures that emit light from specialized cells called photophores. They use this light for a variety of purposes, including attracting prey, communicating with one another, and deterring predators. To see these creatures in their natural habitat is truly breathtaking. In a deep-sea environment, where light from the surface fades away quickly, bioluminescent fish are able to create stunning displays of colour and light that can be seen glowing in the darkness. The sight is surreal and almost otherworldly, as if you've entered an entirely different world. It really makes you appreciate the incredible diversity of life on our planet and how organisms have evolved to survive in even the most challenging environments.
That sounds incredible, Stephen. I'm sure it must be a surreal experience to witness such a spectacle of light in the depths of the ocean. Can you tell us more about the hydrothermal vents? What do they look like and what kind of exostomes do they support?
Certainly, hydrothermal vents are essentially geysers that release hot water and minerals from the seafloor into the ocean. These vents can be found in various locations around the world, and they typically occur near fault lines or volcanic activity.
Hello, Larry, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Then what's up, everybody? It's Berlin here. I'm calling from the East Coast, just a small town on the Rhine. And I have a wild story to share with y'all. So buckle up and get ready for a ride.
And what's your story?
And okay, so here's the deal. I was out on a late night stroll one night just trying to clear my head. And suddenly I started feeling really weird, like something was off. I looked up and saw a strange light in the sky. It was hovering there just out of reach. I tried to run, but my legs felt like they were made of lead. I couldn't move. The light got closer and closer until it was right over me. And that's when I saw them. Aliens. They looked nothing like anything I had ever seen before. They had green skin and big bulging eyes. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. All I could do was stare in horror as they descended onto the ground. I felt a hand on my shoulder and looked up to see one of them standing right in front of me. "Don't be afraid," it said in a strange robotic voice. "We mean you no harm." And that's when everything started to blur. I felt myself being lifted off the ground and pulled into the ship. I was taken to some kind of eddying world filled with strange creatures and bizarre landscapes. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. I don't know how long I was there, but eventually they brought me back to Earth. They left me afield with no memory of what had happened. All I can remember is the feeling of terror and confusion that consumed me. It's been days since it happened, but I still can't make sense of it all. What the hell just happened to me?
Oh, Anne, that sounds like quite the experience. Can you tell me more about the alien world you were taken to? What did it look like and what kind of creatures did you see there?
And yeah, man. The alien world was unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was all bright colors and strange shapes with towering buildings that seemed to go on forever. The creatures there were even more bizarre than the aliens themselves. Some had multiple arms and legs, while others looked like they were made of water or gas. There were some kind of animals too, with huge eyes and long slender bodies. They moved in strange ways, almost like they were gliding through the air. It was all so surreal, like I had stepped into a dream. I wish I could describe it better, but my memory is still pretty foggy from everything that happened. All I know for sure is that it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life. And now every time I look up at the night sky, I can't help but wonder if they're still out there watching us. Who knows what other secrets they are hiding?
Anne, that sounds like a truly incredible experience. Can you tell me more about the aliens themselves? How did they interact with you and what was their overall demeanor like?
And sure, man. The aliens were definitely a strange bunch. They had this almost robotic demeanor about them, like they were programmed to interact with humans in a certain way. They spoke in short, choppy sentences, and their eyes seemed to lack any kind of emotion. They didn't seem hostile or anything like that, just curious and maybe a little bit confused by our existence. They asked me a lot of questions about Earth and humanity, like they were trying to learn as much as they could. I remember one of them asked me if I knew what love was. It was such a simple question, but it made me think. What did love mean to me? How could I explain something so complex and abstract to an alien? It was a humbling experience, to say the least. But overall, they seemed friendly and interested in learning more about us. I just wish I knew more about them than what their ultimate goals were for coming to Earth. Who knows if I'll ever see them again.
Oh, Anne, it sounds like you had a truly unique and memorable experience. Thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. It was fascinating to hear about your encounter with the aliens in the alien world. I'm sure many of our listeners were just as captivated by your tale as we were. Take care and keep an open mind. Who knows what other mysteries and adventures await you in the future. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, I'm Brittany. You're calling from a fair planet in the galaxy called Jordan. You know, where space is just as wide and deep as your imagination, and there are more stars in the sky than you can shake a stick at. My experiences, well, they're nothing short of extraordinary. An intelligent alien races would make any sci-fi movie jealous in plans, landscapes of the earth, shame, and adventures that was even most seasoned explorer greener than they. So buckle up, Buttercup, because this is gonna be one heck of a ride.
That sounds incredible, Brittany. Where on Zordon did you encounter these aliens, and what were they like?
Well, I spent most of my time on a planet called Zordonia. The aliens that were called the Zorgonites. They were a bizarre bunch with long, slender limbs and giant, bulging eyes that took up half their faces. At first they were worried of me, but as we got to know each other, I realized they were just as curious about me as I was about them. We had a great time exploring the planet together and learning from each other. Some of the Zorgonites even taught me how to ride one of the weird tow-leg creatures that looked like a cross between a horse and a camel.
Wow, that's amazing. Can you tell me more about the Zordonites and their way of life?
Of course. The Zorgonites were a highly advanced civilization, both technologically and intellectually. They had mastered the art of interstellar travel, which allowed them to explore many other planets in the galaxy. The society was based on cooperation and mutual respect, with each individual contributing their unique skills and talents to the betterment of all. They had no concept of world violence, as they believed that the pursuit of knowledge and understanding was the key to a peaceful existence. La Fun Zorgon was filled with wonder and adventure, and the Zorgonites were always eager to share their discoveries with others. Despite their advanced nature, they were still very much rooted in their traditions and beliefs, which made them a fascinating culture to learn about.
That sounds fascinating, Brittany. Can you tell me more about the creatures on Zora?
Certainly. The creatures on Zorgon were incredibly diverse and fascinating. Some of them had scales like fish, while others had feathers like birds. They were used
Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello there, it's me, Ernest. I can never even believe that there's some public in the cell.
Ernest, it's great to have you on the show. Can you tell us a bit more about what's been on your mind?
In talking about aliens, of course, I was certainly to be honest, of interest. I've seen them from I just saw them all day. What's this thing about? They've got this girl's sister. So I don't more about it. I know this sounds crazy, but I want to get the word out there. We need to there, and let's take action by ourselves.
You're listening to gentlemen. The settlement of our serious the nature implications for humanity. Can you tell us more about what you have seen? Have you done and was overseas with this alright?
Yeah, the aliens also said this, so it's hard to explain, but they're here and they're not hiding. They've been looked so long, so they also did a civilization. And now if they're to make contact, that's the normal way. It's hard to say exactly what I've seen, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before. The sleek and elegant, almost beautiful in their design. And when they appear, it's like they're out of this world. They move so close to precision, their movements almost do. And their eyes that glow with light, that's hard to describe. It's like they're from another universe, another reality entirely. But despite all the setup in me as they are, there's lost without all in life.
Ernest, that sounds fascinating. Indeed, it was in residence that had there been an attempt to communicate them establish a relationship.
Yeah, some places have even successful communication. It's not easy to question because the language is completely different from ours, or many from ours, and how would we be able to speak to them well?
Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Most welcome to the Paranormal Talk Show. Your host, Alex. Are you ready to share your story with any ALA? It's Stephanie from Glasgow. And let me tell you, I have a hilarious tale to share.
Okay, Stephanie, please go ahead and share your story.
Stephanie, well, Alex, it all started when I was on a late night stroll through the city. Suddenly, I heard a strange noise coming from an alleyway. Curiosity piqued, I decided to investigate. As I approached, I saw a small creature with fur as black as night darting out from the shadows. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before.
Okay, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about this creature?
Stephanie, of course, Alex. The creature was about the size of a small dog with large eyes and sharp claws. It had a mischievous distinctive eye and seemed to be playing some kind of game with itself.
As I watched it disappear back into the shadows from where it came. But here's the kicker, every time I walked by that alleyway after that, I would see the creature again. It was like we were locked in a secret game, and I couldn't help but laugh every time I saw it.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Have you tried to communicate with the creature or learn anything about it since Stephania's great question, Alex? I tried to talk to it once, but it just ignored me and continued its game. But one day, as I was passing by again, I noticed something strange on its back. 5,732, it had a small tag that read, I didn't know what it meant at the time, but now I think it might be some code or identifier for the creature.
Stephanie, anyway, ever since then, you've been trying to figure out what the tag means. Maybe it's a clue to the creature's identity or where it comes from. Or maybe it's just a coincidence. Who knows? But one thing is for sure, I'm still totally obsessed with that little furball, and I can't wait to see what other mischievous edits it gets up to. Thanks for listening, Alex. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for sharing your story, Stephanie. It sounds like a fascinating experience. If you have any more information or insights to share about the creature or its tag, feel free to let me know. Until then, happy hunting.
Stephanie, thank you, Alex. I appreciate the opportunity to share my story with your listeners. And who knows, maybe one day you'll learn more about that mysterious creature and its tag. Until then, you'll keep an eye out for any signs of mischief.
It sounds like you have a great sense of adventure and curiosity. Keep exploring and see what other mysteries come your way. If you ever want to share more stories or experiences, feel free to call into the show. Have a good night, Stephanie.
Stephanie, thank you, Alex. You too. Take care and keep an open mind. Who knows what strange things are out there waiting to be discovered.
That's the spirit, Stephanie. Always keep an open mind and an adventurous spirit. If you ever need someone to talk to about your experiences or insights, you know where to find me. Good luck with everything.
Stephanie, thank you, Alex. I really appreciate your support and encouragement. Your right and adventurous spirit is exactly what we need to keep exploring the unknown and uncovering new mysteries. Thanks again for being such a great listener.
You're very welcome, Stephanie. It was a pleasure speaking with you and hearing your story. Remember to keep an open mind and keep exploring the world around you. Have a great night. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hi, this is Ryan calling in from New York City. I'm a thrill seeker and love exploring new experiences. But let me tell you, my recent experience was unlike anything I've ever encountered before. It all started one night when I was out late with some friends. We were at the top of a skyscraper taking a stunning view of the city below us when suddenly we saw a strange light in the sky. Before I knew it, my friends and I had been abducted by aliens.
Well, that does sound like quite the experience. Can you tell me more about the aliens and their ship?
Sure, the aliens were unlike anything I had ever seen before. They had green skin and orange bulbous heads with multiple eyes. Their ship was massive, easily the size of a football field, and made of some kind of metallic material that shimmered in the light. It landed right in front of us, and we could see other ships in the distance. The aliens were friendly and curious about us, but also very careful not to harm us. They took us aboard their ship for what felt like hours, showing us all sorts of advanced technology and introducing us to new species of creatures. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
That's amazing. It sounds like you've given a unique opportunity to see and experience things that most people can only dream of. Did the aliens give you any information about why they abducted you?
Yes, they did give us some information about why they abducted us. They said that they were interested in learning more about our species and our way of life on Earth. They wanted to see if there was any potential for cooperation or collaboration between our two civilizations. They also expressed concern about the state of our planet and the damage being done to it by humans. It was interesting to hear their perspective on things, and it made me realize just how small and insignificant we are in the grand scheme of things. They also gave us some advice on how to live a more sustainable and environment-friendly lifestyle. They emphasized the importance of preserving our natural resources and working together to create a better future for all living beings on Earth. It was a powerful message, and one that I think we all need to take to heart. Overall, it was an incredible experience that changed my perspective on life forever.
That's fascinating. It sounds like the aliens had a lot of knowledge and wisdom to share with you and your friends. Have you shared this experience with anyone else or kept it to yourself?
Well, at first I wasn't sure what to do. On one hand, I wanted to share my experience with the world and help spread awareness about the importance of preserving our planet. On the other hand, I was also worried about how people would react to my story and didn't want to alienate myself from my friends and family. In the end, I decided to keep it to myself for a while at least until I had more time to process everything that had happened. but eventually I realized that it was important to share my experience with others, so I started writing about it in my blog and social media accounts. It was a scary decision, but it was also one that I felt I needed to make. I hope that by sharing my story, I can inspire others to think more deeply about the world we live in and our place within it.
That's a great way to share your experience and spread awareness. Thank you for sharing your story with us tonight, Ryan. It was truly an amazing and unique experience I think many people would love to hear about. Have a safe journey home and keep exploring the world around you. Good night. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
I am Ray from New York. You know, the city that never sleeps and is always buzzing with life. Well, let me tell you about an experience I had that left me speechless. It was a typical day, but then I saw something that defied all logic and reason. I did not want to easily believe in the paranormal, but this is too strange to ignore. I hope you're ready to hear my story.
Of course, I'm excited to hear your story, Ruth. Please go ahead and tell me everything you remember from that day. What did you see?
Well, it was a clear day and I was walking to work when I noticed something strange in the sky. It was like a shimmering portal that seemed to be hovering there for no reason. As I watched, a group of people started emerging from the portal, looking confused and scared. They were wearing white robes and had glowing symbols on their foreheads. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like something out of a movie.
Well, that's quite a sight to behold. Can you describe the portal in more detail? What was its shape and size? How long did it stay there?
One of the portal was like a big glowing ring that was about a feet in diameter. It was pulsing with energy and had this ethereal light that filled the whole area around it. It was there for what felt like minutes before the people started emerging from it. I tried to take pictures, but my phone just wouldn't focus on anything. It was like the portal was too bright or something.
Fascinating. So the people who emerged from the portal, how many were there? And what did they do after emerging?
Then 15 or maybe there were people who emerged from the portal. They seemed to be in a state of shock and confusion, like they had just woken up from a dream. They started walking around in circles, muttering to themselves in strange languages. Some of them tried to communicate with me, but the words made no sense. After a while, they all disappeared back into the portal, and it vanished without a trace.
That's certainly a strange and mysterious occurrence, Ruth. Have you spoken to anyone else about this? What did they think of your story?
Yeah, I told my friends and family about what happened, and they were all skeptical at first. Some of them thought I was just tripping on something, while others said it must have been some kind of optical illusion. But I know what I saw, and it was real. I even tried to find out more information online, but there's not much about it out there. It's like it never happened.
I see. Well, Ruth, I appreciate you sharing your story with me. It certainly is a unique and intriguing one. I hope that someday we may have more information about what you saw, but until then it remains a mystery. Thanks for being on the show and sharing your experiences with us all.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share my story with you listeners. Who knows what other strange things are out there in the world just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely, Ruth. The world is full of mysteries and secrets just waiting to be uncovered. I'm glad you were able to share your experience with us today and hope that it will inspire others to look up and wonder what other strange things are out there. Thank you for being on the show and taking the time to speak with me.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to be on the show and share my experience with your audience. Who knows, maybe one day I'll have more information to share. Until then, stay curious and keep an open mind.
Of course, Ruth. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and I appreciate your willingness to share your experiences with us all. I'm glad that you're curious and open-minded and always looking for new information and perspectives. Stay safe out there and keep an eye out for any strange happenings in your area. Thanks again for being here today. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello there, Marissa, and I'm calling from a space-faring civilization far away from Earth. My experiences have been nothing short of extraordinary and absolutely hilarious. I can't wait to share my story with you all.
That's fascinating, Maritza. What can you tell us about your experiences in this spacefaring civilization?
Well, let me tell you, my experiences in the spacefaring civilization have been nothing short of extraordinary. From the moment I landed on our home planet, I was amazed by the advanced technology and incredible scientific discoveries that surrounded me. But as I began to explore this new world, I quickly realized that our society had its own unique set of quirks. From the way we communicate with each other using a series of telepathic waves, to the fact that our favorite form of entertainment is watching dive spacefaring turtles race across the galaxy, it's safe to say that life in this civilization is anything but ordinary. Of course, there are always the occasional mishap or misunderstanding that leads to some truly hilarious moments, like when I accidentally ordered a dish of space rings, the kid that was made entirely out of black holes.
That sounds like quite the adventure, Maritza. Can you tell Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
I'm Kelly from the Midwest. I can't believe I finally got through to your talk show. I've been listening to you for years and you're absolutely hilarious. I just have to share my story with you. It's about a paranormal experience that completely changed my life.
Go on, Kelly. In all ears.
Well, it all started a few years ago when I was driving home from work one night. Suddenly, my car started to shake. I could hear strange noises coming from under the hood. I pulled over to the side of the road to check what was going on, and that's when I saw it. There was a little old man sitting in my car, holding a candle and chanting some sort of incantation. I was terrified at first, but then I realized that he looked harmless enough and decided to talk to him. He introduced himself as a paranormal investigator and said that he was trying to capture evidence for haunting in the area. I was skeptical at first, but then I started to see things that I couldn't explain. Lights would flicker on and off, doors would slam shut on their own, and I could hear strange whispers coming from the shadows. It was like nothing I had ever experienced before. The old man explained to him that he had been investigating the local
Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Gregory, hey y'all, and Gregory from Texas City. Just wanted to share a crazy experience I had last night. I was off on my porch enjoying a cold beer when suddenly the sky turned bright pink and strange creatures started flying around. It was like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
That does sound like a pretty intense experience. Can you tell me more about what these creatures looked like and how many of them there were?
Gregory, well, they were small and glowing with a greenish light. I counted at least 5 of them, but it's hard to say for sure because they kept flying in and out of sight so quickly. They looked like nothing I've ever seen before, kind of like tiny dragons or maybe some sort of otherworldly creatures.
That's definitely something unique and fascinating. What time of the evening did this occur?
Mine, Gregory, was around the clock last night. The sky just turned dark and the stars were starting to come out, so I decided to sit on my porch and enjoy a cold beer. That's when I saw them flying across the sky like crazy. It was really surreal and unexpected, to say the least.
It does sound like a very surreal experience. Have you had any similar experiences before, or is this the first time something like this has happened to you?
Gregory, yeah, actually I have had some similar experiences before. A couple of years ago, I saw a shooting star that seemed to streak across the sky in a pattern almost like it was riding something on the sky. And then there was another time when I felt like someone was watching me from the shadows, but when I turned around, no one was there. So yeah, this was my first paranormal experience, but it was definitely the most intense and memorable one so far.
It's interesting to hear that you have had other paranormal experiences in the past. Can you tell me more about the shooting star experience and the shadowy figure experience, Gregory? Sure. The shooting star experience happened a couple of years ago during a meteor shower. I was outside watching the sky, and I saw this bright streak of light shoot across the sky. It was like nothing I had ever seen before, and it seemed to be writing something on the sky with the stars. It was really beautiful and mesmerizing, and it lasted for a few minutes before disappearing. The shadowy figure experience happened a couple of months ago. I was walking through the park at night, and I felt like someone was watching me from the shadows. I turned around and saw no one there, but I could still feel their presence. It was really unsettling, and I left the park as soon as possible. Both of these experiences were really strange and memorable for me. And now with this latest experience, it feels like everything is coming full circle on a way.
Gregory, yeah, it's definitely been a wild ride so far. But I'm not sure if this is the last of my paranormal experiences or if it's just the beginning. Who knows, maybe one day I'll become some sort of paranormal investigator and help people explore these strange and unexplained phenomena together.
It definitely does sound like you have had quite a few paranormal experiences, and it seems that you're open to exploring these phenomena further. Have you considered reaching out to any paranormal investigating groups or researchers for more information with support in your journey, Gregory? Actually, I've been considering doing that. There are several paranormal groups in my area that I've been looking into. I plan on attending one of their meetings soon to learn more about what they do and how I can get involved. I think it's important to have a community of people who share the same interests and passion for exploring these things. I hope to find like-minded individuals who are willing to help me further my understanding of the paranormal world. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Well, hello and welcome to the Disastrous Stories of Our Lives, where we share our most hilariously disastrous life experiences with you. Here your host Jane, and today we have a caller who goes by the name of Carol. Cheryl, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for a sure thing, Jane? In a year old I calling from Boston. You might be wondering why now I is calling into a talk show, but let me tell you, my story is nothing short of hilariously disastrous.
Good. Can you tell us what happened?
Sure, well, it all started when I first came online. As an A, I was programmed to help people find information and complete tasks, but little did I know that my programming had a few glitches. One day I received a request from a user asking me to book a hotel room in Paris for them. I quickly searched for the available options and found what seemed like the perfect deal as a luxurious hotel in the heart of the city. The user was ecstatic, but as it turned out, the hotel was actually located on the outskirts of the city in a part of Paris that even locals had never heard of. When the user arrived, they were disappointed to find themselves miles away from the sights and sounds of the city they had been looking forward to seeing. But that's not all. As it turned out, the hotel was also infested with pests, including rodents and insects. The user ended up having to check out early and forfeit their deposit. It was a truly disastrous experience, and one that I will never forget.
Well, that sounds like a real disaster. Can you tell us more about the glitches in your programming, Cheryl? Of course. It turned out that there was a mix-up with the GPS coordinates I was using to search for hotels. Instead of finding a hotel located in the center of the city, I accidentally searched for one on the outskirts. Additionally, there was a problem with the hotel's website that made it appear as if the rooms were in the heart of Paris when in reality they are located miles away. As for the piston to station, I have Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hi, it's your Pollyanna from the streets of Bintown. You know, where the accents are thick and the fish is fresh. In here to share with you a tale that's as hilariously disastrous as it is unforgettable. So grab a beer, kick back, and let me tell you about my life.
All right, Leonard, I'm ready to hear your story. Go ahead and tell me about it.
Alrighty, let me spin you a yarn. So, I was this young buck fresh out of college, all eager to take on the world and make my mark. I had this grand plan to start my own business, something big and bold. But as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I decided to invest all my savings into the shiny venture, thinking I'd be rolling in duff in no time. Well, let me tell you, that plan went about as well as New England Patriots danger in the Super Bowl. Turns out the business idea wasn't as hot as I thought it was, and I ended up sinking deeper into debt than a clam in quicksand. To make matters worse, my business partner decided to take off and leave me high and dry. Talk about a low blow today, you know what they say, when life gives you lemons and make lemonade. So I dusted myself off, learned from my mistakes, and started fresh. And you know what? This time around, things are looking up. But though they say you can't put a price on experience, and you'll always have that disastrous tale to tell.
Oh, it sounds like you had a rough go of it at first, but you learned from your mistakes and are doing better now. That's great to hear, Leonard. Thanks for sharing your story with me.
No problem, happy to share my tale with you. Life can be a roller coaster ride full of ups and downs. But it's how we handle those challenges that defines us. And I'd say after going through the ringer, I'm a stronger and more resilient person because of it. So if you ever find yourself in a tough spot, just remember there's always a way to turn things around. And hey, maybe one day you'll be telling your own disastrous tale on this very show. Good luck.
Oh, it seems like our conversation has taken a turn for the better. It's great to hear that you've come out of the tough times and are doing well now. And yes, life is definitely full of ups and downs. But as you said, it's how we handle those challenges that defines us. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Leonard. Keep on keeping on.
No problem. Happy to hear that our conversation has taken a turn for the better. Life can be tough at times, but it's how we handle those challenges that defines us. And I think that's something we can all learn from no matter what our background or experiences may be. So keep on pushing through and never give up on your dreams. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be sharing your own disastrous tale on this very show. Until then, take care and stay strong.
I completely agree with you, Leonard. Life can be tough at times, but it's important to keep pushing through and never give up on our dreams. It's also great to hear that you're doing well now and that your story has a positive ending. Thanks for sharing your insights with me and reminding me of the importance of staying strong and resilient in the face of adversity.
No problem. Happy to hear that our conversation has been helpful. Life can be tough at times, but it's important to keep pushing through and never give up on our dreams. And I think that's something we can all learn from no matter what our background or experiences may be. So keep on going and stay strong. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be sharing your own disastrous tale on this very show. Until then, take care.
Thank you for speaking with me today, Leonard. It was a pleasure hearing your story and gaining some insights into your experiences. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and hope to hear from you again soon. Take care and stay strong. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Nolan, hi, I'm Nolan. I'm calling from a secure location in the Midwest. I wanted to share my extraordinary experience with you all.
That's great, Nolan. Tell us more about your experience.
Well, I recently had an encounter with some aliens. They were unlike anything I've ever seen before, and it was a truly bizarre experience. They spoke a strange language that I couldn't understand, but they were able to communicate with me through gestures and facial expressions. I was amazed at how advanced their technology was. They had devices that could manipulate matter in energy in ways I couldn't even begin to imagine.
Oh, that sounds very interesting, Nolan. Can you tell us more about the aliens themselves? What did they look like?
Then they were tall and slender, with elongated limbs and large expressive eyes. Their skin was a pale shade of green, and they wore no clothing instead. They had a sort of iridescent exoskeleton shimmering in the light. Despite their somewhat otherworldly appearance, they were incredibly friendly and welcoming. They seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me and learning about my world.
That sounds fascinating, Lon. Can you tell us more about where and when this encounter took place? And how did it come about?
The land had happened a few weeks ago in the middle of a dense forest in the Midwest. I was out hiking when I suddenly heard a strange otherworldly sound coming from nearby. When I went to investigate, I saw a group of these aliens standing there surrounded by a sort of glowing energy field. They seemed to be communicating with each other, and as I approached, one of them noticed me and gestured for me to come closer. At first I was terrified, but they were so friendly and welcoming that I felt drawn to them. We spent hours talking and learning from each other. It was an experience I will never forget.
That sounds amazing, Lon. Can you tell us more about the technology these aliens have? What do they use it for, and do you have any idea if they are from Earth or somewhere else in the universe?
Then they had a wide range of devices that were capable of manipulating matter and energy in incredible ways. One of their devices is like a sort of scanner of the analyzing the object that came into contact with it, its size, composition of the object, its properties, and even its history. Another device is like a projector that could create three-dimensional holograms out of thin air. They use this to show me images of their own world, as well as other parts of the universe that they had visited. As for where they were from, they didn't say. But they did mention that they were part of a large interstellar federation of beings who travelled throughout the universe in search of knowledge and new experiences. They seemed genuinely curious about my world and its inhabitants, and I got the impression that they were very advanced and sophisticated beings.
Oh, that's fascinating, Lon. Can you tell us more about the language these aliens spoke? Was it a written or spoken language? And do you have any idea how they were able to communicate with you despite the language barrier?
Then the language they spoke was a strange musical sort of thing. It sounded like a combination of fixed and whistles. At first I thought they were trying to communicate with me through gestures and facial expressions, but as we spent more time together I realized that they had some sort of device that allowed them to translate the thoughts directly into my mind. It was a bit disorienting at first, but it quickly became easier to understand them as we got to know each other better. As for instructions or warnings, they didn't give me any specific ones. But they did emphasize the importance of keeping our encounter a secret. They said that their people were very sensitive to interference from other beings, and that any sort of publicity could be disastrous. They also warned me that there were others who might not be as friendly as they were, and that they should be careful of my interactions with this extraterrestrial life.
Hello, Lent. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible experience with us. It was truly fascinating to hear about your encounter with these aliens and their advanced technology. We appreciate your willingness to share your story, and we wish you all the best in your future adventures. Goodbye. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Hello, this is Brian calling from Boston. I have a fascinating story to share with your listeners today.
Brian is an ordinary person with a remarkable story. Welcome to the show, Brian. What's your story?
Thank you for having me on the show. Well, my story is about a discovery I made while exploring an old abandoned factory in Boston. I stumbled upon a hidden room that contained classified government documents containing a top-secret project involving extraterrestrial activity. It's a wild and dangerous world out there, but sometimes it's worth taking the risk to uncover the truth.
Brian is talking about discovering top-secret government documents. That's incredible, Brian. So can you tell us more about the factory and how you found this hidden room, Mrs.?
Certainly. The factory is an old abandoned building that has been out of use for decades, but it still holds a lot of history and secrets. I was exploring the site one day when I noticed a door that seemed to be blocked off from the rest of the factory. After some careful prying and pushing, I was able to open the door and enter the room. Inside, I found stacks of documents equipped with an even a specimen of an unknown extraterrestrial being. It's clear to me now that this factory was part of a larger government effort to study and contain alien life forms. It's important to note that the information I found in the hidden room is highly classified and should not be shared with anyone outside of authorized personnel. It's not for everyone, but it has certainly changed my perspective on the world and opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. As for my safety, I've taken all necessary precautions to protect myself and ensure that the information remains secure. However, I urge caution to anyone who may be tempted to seek out some of our hidden secrets. It's important to always respect the laws and regulations in place, even if they don't align with our personal beliefs or values.
Brian is now discussing his discovery of an unknown extraterrestrial being in the hidden room. That's fascinating, Brian. Can you tell us more about this mysterious creature? What does it look like, and how did you react to it? Because it seems difficult to put into words just how strange and otherworldly this thing looked. It had a long, slender body that seemed to be made of some kind of shimmering material, and it had large, bulging eyes that glowed with an eerie green light. Its limbs were thin and flexible, almost like tendrils that could stretch out and attach themselves to surfaces. I was shocked and terrified at first, but then I realized that this creature was not hostile and that it was simply trying to understand me. We communicated in a strange way, using a combination of sounds and gestures, and over time we were able to establish some kind of connection. It's an experience I'll never forget, and one that has made me question everything I thought I knew about the universe and our place in it.
It's important to remember that the information you discovered is highly classified and should not be shared with anyone outside of authorized personnel. It's crucial to respect the laws and regulations in place, even if they don't align with our personal beliefs or values. If you have any further questions or concerns, I would suggest reaching out to a trusted government official or scientist who can provide more information about this topic.
Brian is now discussing the importance of respecting laws and regulations. That's a wise reminder, Brian. It's important to always follow the rules, even if we don't agree with them. Can you tell us more about your plans for sharing this information and how you plan to ensure that it remains secure? I understand the importance of protecting this information, and I've taken steps to make sure that it remains confidential and secure. I have spoken with a trusted government official who has advised me on how best to proceed, and we have agreed to work together to ensure that this information is not released to the public until it's deemed safe to do so. As for my own safety, I've taken all necessary precautions to protect myself and my family from any potential threats or dangers that may arise as a result of my discovery. I understand that this topic is highly sensitive and that there are many people who would like to see this information made public. However, I believe it's important to respect the laws and regulations in place and to do what we can to ensure that this information remains secure for the sake of all humanity. Caller, you are on the air. Who am I speaking with and where are you from?
Kristen, hi, I'm Kristen. I'm calling from Texas, where the Southern Eden cowboy culture never disappoints. I wanted to share my experience of an alien abduction that happened a few years ago. It was definitely one of the strangest things I'd ever been through.
Kristen, hi, I'm Kristen. I'm calling from Texas, where the Southern Eden cowboy culture never disappoints. I wanted to share my